Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I want to call this meeting to order. It's the Planning Commission public hearing where we're going to discuss the comprehensive plan amendment. So we want to thank everyone who has shown up tonight to participate in this process, and we will get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you please stand and join me for that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we have an agenda tonight that's a few things to discuss, and how we're going to do that is we're going to start by reviewing the zoning decision comprehensive plan amendments first. Then we'll go into the commissioner proposed comprehensive plan amendments, and then follow that with the staff proposed comprehensive plan amendment. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Philip Westbrook to walk us through the proposed amendment.
All right. Good evening and Happy New Year's. I'm Philip Westbrook, Senior Planner with Cobb County Community Development, and I'm here to facilitate the 2024 Comprehensive Plan amendments. A little bit of background. The Georgia Planning Act of 1989 established comprehensive planning activities for all jurisdictions within the state. As part of those activities include preparing and maintaining a comprehensive plan and future land use map. Tonight, what we are here to do is maintain that plan. The state of Georgia requires 5 and 10-year updates, but they also have an option for an annual update, which is a yearly update. Cobb County has customarily done an annual update, and that is what we're here tonight for, is that yearly revision to the comprehensive plan. These revisions are minor, small scale, and mostly just change the future land use of Cobb County. And to talk a little bit about the future land use, it is not a development ordinance. By no means is the comprehensive plan a regulatory document. It does not carry the weight of zoning. It is merely a guideline for future development. It is just one tool of many tools that the elected officials use to make future development decisions. So again, it is not we're not changing the zoning. That is up to the property owner or a representative thereof. So we have 3 different types of amendments. We have the zoning decisions. These are cases, these are actually cases this past year, rezoning cases this past year that were approved at a zoning that was incompatible with the future land use. So what we are doing is bringing the future land use up to be consistent with the zoning that was approved from, in those cases that we will look at, there's 7 of them. They range, the dates are from October 2022 to October of 2023. The commission proposals are proposals that have come down from the commissioners and or the constituents of the commissioners. These cases have been vetted and justified through planning analysis they warrant moving to this process to be voted on and recommended to be proposed and approved through this update process. And then of course our staff proposals are proposals that come from the staff. There's one tonight and we'll get to that. That'll be our last case of the night. All right, with that, Chair, I think it'd probably be beneficial if we just let the audience know how the process, I can do that or.
Go for it.
Okay, all right, so we have several cases. We'll start with the ZDs and then move to the CPs and SP. But what we'll do is I'll read in each case, and then Chair, if you would ask if there's anyone in the audience that wants to speak for or against, and then if there is someone that wants to speak for or against, we'll just mark that case, set it off to the side. If there's no one that wants to speak, then we'll continue moving forward. After I've read in all of the zoning decisions, we'll take the ones that had no opposition and you guys can discuss and vote on those all in one vote. Then I will reread the cases that have opposition, and then we can ask the opposition or the speakers to come up and speak, and I believe it's 3 minutes per speaker. So with that, I think we can go ahead and get started. ZDs, there's 7 of them, and we'll start with ZD1. ZD1 is based on zoning case Z49 from November of 2022. It is in Commission District 4. The existing future land use is low-density residential and medium-density residential. The proposed future land use is medium-density residential. The site is located on the west side of Ernest Barrett Parkway at the terminus of Old Horseshoe Bend, north of Macedonia Road.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD1? All right, hearing none, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Westbrook.
All right, ZD2 is based on zoning case Z86, which was approved in December of 2022. It is in Commission District 3. The existing future land use is industrial compatible, and the proposed future land use is industrial. The site is located on the north side of Gresham Road, east of Fairview Street.
Anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD2? Okay, hearing none, back to you, Mr. Westbrook.
All right, ZD3 is based on zoning case Z77 from 2022, which was approved in February of 2023. It is in Commission District 3. The existing future land use is Community Activity Center and Neighborhood Activity Center. The proposed future land use is Community Activity Center. The site is located on the south side of Piedmont Road and on the west side of Canton Road.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD3? Okay, back to you.
ZD4 is based on Z21, which was approved in July of 2023. It is in Commission District 4. The existing future land use is Community Activity Center, and the proposed future land use is Neighborhood Activity Center and low-density residential.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD4? Okay, thank you.
All right, ZD5 is based on Z27 from August of 2023. It is in Commission District 4. The existing future land use is Community Activity Center and low-density residential. The proposed future land use is Neighborhood Activity Center. The track is located on the west side of Queen Mill Road and on the north side of Mableton Parkway.
Anyone here in favor or against ZD5? All right, thank you.
ZD6 is based on Z29 from September of 2023. It is in Commission District 4. The existing future land use is very low density residential. The proposed future land use is low density residential. The site is located on the south side of Morris Road, west of Lithia Springs Road.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD6? Okay, thank you.
ZD7 is based on Z72 from October of 2021. It is in Commission District 2. The existing future land use is Neighborhood Activity Center and low-density residential. The proposed future land use is public institutional, park, recreation, conservation, medium-density residential, and low-density residential. The site is located south of Shallowford Road, west of Johnson Ferry Road, northerly and southerly of Waterfront Drive. Based on community feedback, Chair, we would also like to amend this proposal to include the elimination of small area policy guide NAC-P9, which is associated with this track, and it would no longer be valid.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor or against ZD7? All right, thank you. I think we will pause there and address all of the, since there was no one against any of the zoning decisions, amendments, can we take a moment to discuss those, or I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning decision comprehensive plan amendments?
I'd move to approve the zoning comprehensive plan amendments, inclusive of the recommendation for ZD7 that NAC P9 small area plan be removed.
I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's call the question. By a vote of 5-0, we recommend approval of the zoning decision comprehensive plan amendments. I'll turn it back to Mr. Westbrook to take us through the commissioner proposed amendments.
Thank you. All right, we'll now begin with the commission proposals. We'll start with CP 1-1. It is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to rural residential. The site is located north and south of Rutledge Road on the west side of Blackacre Trail.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-1? Sorry. Okay, thank you.
CP 1-2 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to rural residential. The track is located on the east side of Cobb Parkway, south of 3rd Army Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-2? Okay, thank you.
CP 1-3 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from rural residential to neighborhood activity center. The site is located on the east side of Cobb Parkway, north of Autry Church Road.
Again, anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-3? All right, thank you.
All right, CP 1-4 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from neighborhood activity center to rural residential. The site is located on the west side of Ackworth Dallas Road, south of Cedar Crest Road.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-4? Okay, thank you.
CP 1-5 is also in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from neighborhood activity center to low-density residential. The site is located on the west side of Ackworth Due West Road, south of Cobb Parkway.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-5? All right, thank you.
CP 1-6 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the east and west side of Ernest Barrett Parkway, north of Dallas Highway.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-6? Okay, we have one, and that's noted. We'll come back to this one.
All right. CP 1-7 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the west side of Barrett Parkway and east of Villarica Way, south of Dallas Highway.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-7? All right, thank you.
CP 1-8 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to low-density residential. The site is located on the south side of Dallas Highway, north of Old Dallas Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor or against CP 1-8? All right, thank you.
CP 1-9 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center and Park Recreation Conservation to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the south side of Dallas Highway, east of Lost Mountain Road.
Is anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-9? All right, thank you.
CP 1-10 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to Very Low Density Residential and Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the north side of Dallas Highway, west of Mars Hill Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-10? All right, thank you.
CP 1-11 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to Very Low Density Residential. The site is located on the north side of Dallas Highway, east of the Paulding County line.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 1-11? Okay, we have one. Did I see one? One, thank you. We'll come back to that.
CP 1-12 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to a Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located near the intersection of Mars Hill Road and Stylesboro Road.
Is there anyone in here to speak in favor of or in opposition to CP 1-12? All right, thank you.
All right. CP 4-1 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to low-density residential. The site is located on the west side of South Cobb Drive at Waldrop Circle.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-1? Okay, thank you.
CP 4-2 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from the Mableton Town Center subcategory Community Activity Center and low-density residential to the Mableton Town Center medium-density residential and medium-density residential. This site is located on the north side of Lions Club Drive, north of Veterans Memorial Highway and west of Glore Drive. Glore Drive.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-2? Okay, I see one. Is that one? Okay, we'll come back to that.
All right, CP 4-3 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the west side of Mableton Parkway at the intersection of Felton Lane.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-3? Okay, thank you.
All right, CP 4-4 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located east and west side of Oakdale Road, just north of Veterans Memorial Highway.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-4? I see one. Okay, we'll be back. Thank you.
All right, CP 4-5 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the east and west sides of Mableton Parkway, north and south sides of Gresham Road, and south of Old Alabama Road.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-5? All right, thank you.
4-6, CP 4-6 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located at the intersection of Old Powder Springs Road and Old Bankhead Highway.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-6? Okay, thank you.
CP 4-7 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center and high-density residential. The site is located northeasterly of Riverside Parkway, divided by City View Drive.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-7? All right, thank you.
CP 4-8 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from priority industrial area to park recreation conservation. This site is located on the east side of Discovery Boulevard, north of Mableton Parkway.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-8? All right, thank you.
CP 4-9 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to medium-density residential. The site is located on the north side of Old Bankhead Highway, east of Old Powder Springs Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-9? Thank you.
All right, CP 4-10 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to high-density residential. The site is located on the south side of Old Powder Springs Road, east of Veterans Memorial Highway.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-10? All right, thank you.
CP 4-11 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to medium-density residential. The site is located on the east side of Wade Road, south of Blair Bridge Road, west of Factory Shoals Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-11? All right, thanks.
All right, CP 4-12 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to medium-density residential. The site is located on the south side of Blair Bridge Road, east of Riverside Parkway.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-12? All right, thank you.
CP 4-13 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from priority industrial area to community activity center, medium-density residential, and public institutional. The site is located on the east side of Mableton Parkway between Honeycutt Road and Queen Mill Road.
Anyone here to speak in favor of or against CP 4-13? One? Got it. Thank you.
And that concludes the reading of the CPs.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. To my count, we have 5 of them that need to be addressed. Can we swear everyone in at once, or do we need to go call them up case by case?
We can swear everybody in at the same time, and each speaker is allowed for 3 minutes.
Okay. So if you heard our county attorney give us good instructions, you'll have 3 minutes to talk, and we will allow everyone opportunity to utilize their full 3 minutes. So if you plan on speaking on one of the 5 cases that was called out, if you could come forward and get sworn in, please. Yeah, we can do that now. Can we? So while our speakers are getting sworn in and signing the information, I will turn to my fellow commissioners and entertain a motion to recommend approval for the remainder of the commissioner proposed comprehensive plan amendments.
So moved.
Second, and for purposes of clarity, that would be all the
Thank you.
proposals with the exception of CP 1-6, CP 1-11, CP 4-2, CP 4-4, and CP 4-13.
Thank you. So I have a second from Commissioner Ballon. Any discussion? If not, let's call the question. So by a vote of 5-0, we recommend approval of the commissioner proposed comprehensive plan amendments with the omission of CP 1-6, CP 1-11, CP 4-2, and CP 4-4, and CP 4-13. Thank you. So let's start with CP 1-6.
All right. CP 1-6 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located on the east and west side of Ernest Barrett Parkway, north of Dallas Highway.
And let's have our speaker come up for CP 1-6. As stated, you'll have 3 minutes, and if you will just start with giving us your name for the record.
My name is Mike Skian, and the property that I'm talking about specifically is 3412 East Barrett Parkway. Presently utilized as a restaurant. I do not own the restaurant, I own the real estate. And I'm objecting against the change in the land use because although we've seen the proposal in the land use plan, have not seen any uses identified under the new land use plan. So we had the property rezoned back in 1996, and the only two exceptions that we had on the rezoning were no drive-through restaurants and no automotive use. So, if we could see a list of the uses that would be allowed under the new land use plan that would not be in opposition to the zoning that we received back in 1996, then my objections may go away. But until, I think there's information that needs to be provided that is not available at this point. I've asked for it. I submitted my letter of objection today. Spoke to Philip Westbrook a couple of weeks ago. I spoke to Fred earlier tonight, and I will read it specifically if you'd like me to read it into record. But
You can, but you have 1 minute, 15 seconds.
Okay.
So,
Since this proposed 2024 CPA does not provide the property owner a list of possible future uses as defined under the new NAC category, my concern is for my specific property and my vested interest under the law pertaining to this specific property, and for the preservation of these specific uses and rights as granted from the point in time those rights and interest arising from legal ownership were acquired or granted by the expenditure of a substantial amounts of money and or by permits, zoning, and or approvals granted by the authority of the city, town, or Cobb County, and Cobb County's authorized individuals. Please contact me if you can provide me with the information that I've requested. Otherwise, I've submitted my notice of opposition to this new use for my property solely. I'm not representing any other property owner, just my property.
thank you. And that's
Any
you're right at
questions?
3 minutes. Yep.
Any questions?
Nope. Thank you. You can have a seat.
Okay.
So this is in District 1, so I will turn it to Commissioner Ballon to lead our discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Westbrook, can you come up and just a couple point of questions. So this place has been a restaurant for a significant number of years to this point. Is there anything about this being placed in your proposed future land use category that would in any way impair it or impact its ability to be a restaurant?
Not at all.
Okay.
The zoning is pretty much familiar with this. The zoning is NRC. The zoning will remain NRC, and NRC allows for restaurants. Also, just to kind of clarify, the neighborhood activity or the future land use, again, is guidelines. We don't get into specific uses. Technically, if you really want to get technical, anything can be allowed under the future land use guideline. Now, there are compatible zoning categories and incompatible zoning categories, but again, this is not a regulation. So if you talk about what types of uses are allowed within a neighborhood activity center, the types of uses that are within all the compatible zonings that fit within the neighborhood activity center are allowed, which I think there's probably 10 or 12 different zoning categories that are allowed, that are compatible with the neighborhood activity center. So all the uses within those would be compatible.
And we reviewed that before this meeting, but do you have access to that now? Do you have that book with you?
I do. I have,
Okay.
probably, we can show it probably over here. All right, so zoom. Let's see, zoom. All right, so this is sort of the future land use zoning. So this is the, test, okay, here we go. So this is the future land use and zoning compatibility chart. Over on the left-hand side, you have your future land use categories. Over on the right-hand side, you have the zoning categories that are compatible with that particular future land use. So here in this case, we are looking at the CAC and NAC future land use. That is the Community Activity Center and the Neighborhood Activity Center. And you can see the two different, the zoning categories that are compatible with each of those future land use category. So again, and this is all, this is not like allowed zoning or required zoning. This is just compatibility. Again, this is just not a regulation. It's not an ordinance. So, you know, these zoning categories don't have to fit the future land use. It's just that this is what we would like to see, so to speak. It's what the community has voted on because this is part of the comprehensive plan that was vetted through the community through a 2-year process.
Okay. So I note, for example, that TS is not generally considered a compatible zoning within a NAC, but it is within a CAC. Can you go ahead and tell us what TS is? Correct.
TS is tourist services, so that would be maybe like a large-scale truck stop. John's not here. He'd probably give you a lot more uses that fit within a TS.
Okay. PSC?
PSC is planned shopping center. And I believe there is a minimum acreage requirement on that, and that is a fairly large development. By the way, I will say community activity centers, from a future land use standpoint, are designed to attract from multiple neighborhoods or the community versus a neighborhood activity center. The uses within a neighborhood activity center are designed to attract from the immediate neighborhoods. So for the largest, the most intense use in a community activity center would be like your Home Depot, Lowe's, big box stores. The most intense use within a neighborhood activity center are grocery stores, Publix, Kroger, and so forth.
Okay. Do you have any other comments in response to the stated concern?
Not at all. No, sir.
Mr. Chair, if any of my fellow commissioners have any questions for staff or anyone else?
Commissioners, any questions for staff or for our testimony? Okay, nope. So back to you.
So my recommendation will be for approval of the commissioners, that we recommend approval of Commissioner Proposal 1-6. And then, just a comment in addition that in response to this concern, that I do intend to set up a meeting with my commissioner and the person expressing the concern, just to make sure that any concerns that he might have as to any possible significant probability of this impacting his property value, that we can address that.
Thank you. I have a motion on the table.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Is there any discussion? Not, let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of CP 1-6. Thank you. If we can go to CP 1-11.
All right. CP 1-11 is in Commission District 1 and proposes a change in the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to very low-density residential. The site is located on the north side of Dallas Highway, east of Paulding County line.
Thank you. If we can have our speaker for CP 1-11 come up. Again, you'll have 3 minutes, and then just make sure you start with your name for the record. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandra Dupree, and I am from the Old Dallas Road community, which is right behind that property. And we are opposing it because we have a lot of concerns that's already going right now with the development that's in that same area of that 20 acres. Given what's been going on, they've took out all the buffers that were in the stipulations all the way up to the property line. They've come over the property line of the homeowner. We were told at the last council meeting when it was approved for that to be a development that they would have 18 months to develop it and it would revert back to R30. That's not happened either. They built after that time period, which we never agreed on, the whole community. They have, and in that last council meeting, or the commissioner meetings, that was said on tape, on record. And we've got 35 feet of trees, of mature oak trees that are taken out. On the whole, it's 800 feet of property line. So for that reason, we're opposing any development unless the citizens can be protected and our property values and our way of life. Now, that was our last defense to Dallas Highway. It's gone. No one protected us. So for that reason, we oppose it until we can get the county to come look at the property, get an arborist, and see where we're at with what they've damaged permanently, because it can't be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. This again is in District 1, so I will turn it over to Commissioner Ballone for our, to lead the discussion, sorry.
Okay, so can I get the applicant, or the opponent to come back?
Ms. Dupree,
Ms. Dupree?
when you get through signing, we'll just ask you to come back to the mic. Ms. Dupree, if you can come back to the mic. Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
So I understand your stated concern is the loss of tree buffers out there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Assuming that what we're trying to do here is just to go from a future land use category of neighborhood centers to a very low-density residential concept, does that change in concept bother you in terms of?
We don't want it changed right now. We do not. We're going to oppose it.
You don't want it to be you don't want it to be very low-density residential?
No.
And
No.
okay, you'd rather have some sort of shopping center there than low-density residential?
We just want to be protected, and we don't feel that in any zoning will be protected.
Okay, thank you. Let me get staff to comment on. You can give me your comment on whether
Sure,
there's going to be any
sure.
loss of protection first, and then let's go back over those categories again of what's recommended in each of these.
I'm sorry, repeat the first part of that?
First part would be just whether there's any loss of protection for the community by this piece of property changing in the future land use plan from NAC to very low-density residential?
No, in fact, it would probably help the protection in a way. First of all, again, going back to the future land use is different than zoning. The future land use does not get into the details of buffers and stuff like that. Well, we look at it from a 35,000 altitude elevation. Basically changing from a neighborhood activity center, which is commercial types of zoning that are compatible within a neighborhood activity center, to a very low density residential, based on her comments, would help her in her protection. And in fact, there's really nothing changing. We've had some parcel changes, and really this change is in reflection to the parcels. If you can see, basically what's changing, and I'm not sure a lot of folks out there can see it, but what's changing is everything within that thin yellow polygon. The neighborhood activity center area that you see there is not changing. Just the little thin area that's being highlighted there with the hand, that's the only thing looking to be changed from a neighborhood activity center to a very low density residential.
Okay, and this changes to this limited area would not result in a loss of any tree buffer to anybody?
Not at all, not at all. There's no development being, as far as, from this standpoint, there's no development as part of this application or this proposal. It's not an application, but this proposal. We're just changing the future land use.
Okay, thank you. Again, offer the chair or any of my fellow commissioners a chance to ask any questions or make any comments.
Yeah, any questions or comments from fellow commissioners? Commissioner Dant?
Can I just address a question of Mr. Westbrook? Just to clarify, so the land that's within the designated area is a single parcel, is that right?
No. Oh, no, it's actually it's part of the VLDR parcel.
Okay, it's currently a part of the VLDR parcel.
Correct.
In terms
But
of
on the
ownership?
map, it's showing up as neighborhood activity center.
Okay, so currently the same individual owns VLDR, already designated, as owns this parcel
Correct.
that's in yellow.
And technically, we could have made this correction as an administrative correction, just as a map correction. But to be safe, we'd rather be safe than sorry and bring it out to the public just to make sure. But technically, we could have made this correction from an administrative standpoint. But
So it's kind of a cleanup?
yes, it's a map cleanup.
Thank you.
Any other questions from other commissioners? Not, back to you, Commissioner Below.
Okay. Given those comments, Mr. Chair, my recommendation is that we recommend approval of CP 1-11.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Dant. Is there any discussion? Not, let's call the question. By a vote of 5-0, we recommend approval of CP-1-11. Thank you. Now let's hear CP-4-2.
All right, CP 4-2 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from the Mableton Town Center category, future land use category, with the subcategory of Community Activities Center and low-density residential, to Mableton Town Center with the subcategory medium-density residential and medium-density residential. The site is located on the north side of Lions Club Drive, north of Veterans Memorial Highway, and west of Glore Drive.
Thank you. Let's hear from the speaker for CP-4-2. And again, you'll have 3 minutes and just state your name for the record. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dale Evans, and I've never been to one of these types of meetings before, so it's all new to me. But I live on Glore Drive, which is dead end, Lions Club Drive dead end into my street. I've been there 37 years. Our subdivision there, all the homes are over 37 years old. So I just want to be sure of the usage of Lions Club Drive, because I know there's currently things on Lions Club Drive, like the South Cobb Community Center is there, Lions Club Park is there. There's a hotel there. But I just want to be clear on what's going to happen to that street as far as are all those things that's there going to be taken away. I know right now there's a big homeless community on that street. Probably 20 homeless people live in tents there. And the one house that's on Lions Club Drive, there's only one residential home on that street, is a home that I help because they're very poor people. And their house is in terrible condition. And I just wonder, like, what would happen with them if their home is taken to build newer homes? I think because it says residential is going to be built there, and also commercial. What type of commercial things would be on that street? It's a very small street right now, so of course it's going to have a lot. And I know Mableton become a city, so I didn't know if maybe maybe the mayor's office is going to be on that street. I don't know, when it says Mableton Town Center. So I just want a little understanding of it. I don't really oppose it, but it's just some concerns about how it is now. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Ms. Evans.
Thank you.
You can have a seat. We may call you back up, but have a seat. This is in District 4, and so I'll turn it over to Commissioner Hughes to lead our discussion.
Thank you, Chairman Vaughn. If I could have Philip Westbrook come back. Hey, Philip, you heard the individual talk a little bit about this specific case, and if you could maybe just explain a little bit what's meant by medium-density residential, and then also MTC, what that means as well, so that they have a little bit of understanding of the background there.
All right, so the Mableton Town Center, probably back in 2010, Mableton undertook a form-based code revision, which is an opt-in, opt-out type of, it's not a zoning, but it's type of regulatory form-based code. And you can opt into it as an applicant or a developer looking to develop. You can opt into the form-based code or you can opt out. So the MTC, the Mableton Town Center, that's just sort of a future land use overlay that sort of highlights this area as being the form-based code. Under the Mableton Town Center is the actual, what we're used to as the future land use. And so if you were to develop within the Mableton Town Center and you chose to go the traditional zoning route, then we would look at that future land use subcategory, not the MTC transect zones. We would look at the future land use. So that is on the far west part of this track where it says MTC, where it's highlighted in yellow. That is looking to go from community activity center to medium density residential. So you're sort of going from commercial to residential because this area is, again, more compatible with residential. Now, over on the far eastern part where the LDR is that you see, that is under the traditional future land use zoning. There is no option to utilize the form-based code there. So that is looking to go from low-density residential up to medium-density residential. So the residential connection is remaining. It's going to stay residential. You're just allowing up to 5 units per acre versus 2.5. Also, the other thing is there is no development happening. There's nothing going to happen. This is, again, like a 20, 30-year comprehensive plan, future land use exercise. We are just putting down policy so that when a developer or an applicant comes in, they have an idea of what the community wants to see in these areas. So there is no development. The park, the community center, the hotel, all of that is going to remain. And as long as, well, the county controls that. But even the private development, the private homes there, as long as they want to stay there, they can stay there. They can utilize their property as residential as long as they want to.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that background. Do my fellow commissioners have any questions of staff?
Other questions, comments? Nope. Okay, back to you.
Based on staff's explanation, and actually, Phil, if you can have a seat, I do want to ask the woman that spoke to come back up just real quickly. I've just got a quick question for her. Hi, good evening. You mentioned that someone, you're assisting someone who
Yes.
lives in the house. They own the property there?
Yes, they do.
Okay, all right,
It's just one home. There's only one home on that street,
okay.
and that's theirs.
So sort of what the staff just mentioned, this is just a change in future land use. There's nothing proposed specifically right now at this particular point. And the owner would have to agree to sell the property if they decided to sell it to a developer
Sure.
to develop the property, so.
Now, he's the one that gave me the letter he received
Okay.
because he did not understand it.
Okay.
And he's like, are they going to take my home from me?
No.
I said, I
that's-
don't know. I can go ask.
No, that's not what's contemplated.
I mean, just like there's a lot of empty land there now. I mean, people, I've been talking with a church. Supposedly a church is supposed to be building a big church on that street, but it hasn't been done. So I just didn't know if that was not going to happen. And I mean, something does need to happen, I say that, because of all the homeless and it's lots of drugs in that area.
Well,
So,
appreciate you coming out
okay.
tonight.
Thank you.
Hope we answered your questions. Thank you.
And so, just to piggyback off what Commissioner Hughes said, even with a land use change, anything zoning-wise would still have to come back before the various bodies to get that approval. So, just trying to put some clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Based on the presentation from staff, I'm prepared to offer a recommendation approving CP 4-2 as presented.
I have a motion on the table.
Second?
I have a second. Let me see, is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Nope. Let's call the question. By a vote of 5-0, we recommend approval of CP 4-2. Thank you.
All right, I believe the next one is CP 4-4. It is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center. The site is located east and west side of Oakdale Road, just north of Veterans Memorial Highway.
Can we have the speaker for CP 4-4 come up? You'll have 3 minutes, and just start by stating your name.
My name is Juvenal Rodriguez. I stay in the property 6200 Oakdale Road in that little section. It's also my first time here. I just want to know what's the deal, what's going to happen, or like, are they going to tear down the property? What's going to happen? Because we've been there for about 10 years. We've built it up all the way. We have pool house in the back, all this stuff. We've been living there for a while. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No need to be nervous. We're pretty easy.
Yeah, I just want to know what's the deal? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
We have, like I say, it's easy access. We have Highway 20 down there. We have 285. It's really. I mean, it's my house. I just want to know what's the deal.
Yep. Good questions. Okay, you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Have a seat. I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Hughes from District 4, who can probably answer your questions for you.
Thank you, Chairman Ball. Philip, if I could have you back up.
Yes, sir.
And I think similar to our last case, what we're contemplating tonight doesn't change any of the development that.
I get where it is about to go. Let's give Mr. Rodriguez time to finish, so I want him to be able to hear this answer.
Okay. So again, the comprehensive plan and future land use map is a policy document. So basically what we're changing is policy, and there's nothing on the ground changing. No one is going to be kicked out of their homes or removed or anything like that. Folks that live on the property can continue to live there as long as they please. We are just making a policy, we're looking to make a policy change from, in this case, Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center based on actually the residential that is in and around it, trying to help protect some of the residents in the area as well as just on the periphery of the area. So again, this is just a policy change, a mapping change. Nothing on the ground will happen. That is solely up to the property owner.
Thank you for that background. I appreciate that. On one of the earlier cases, you showed a future land use and compatibility chart real quick. Do you have that handy real quick? And so just real quick, under NAC, what are some of the zoning categories that might be available to a future development there?
Okay. The Neighborhood Activity Center, some of the compatible zonings that would be compatible with the Neighborhood Activity Center would be SC, which is our suburban condominium. That's actually a residential type of zoning. Low-rise office, which that's the LRO. That is the typical use in a low-rise office would be sort of your medical, just sort of a small medical office. Could be real estate office. LRC, limited retail commercial, that is your small shopping center, small strip center. And OS, that's office services, special exceptions. And then NRC is neighborhood retail commercial. That's another small strip center. PVC, planned village commercial, that's a little bit larger. That would be something similar to like a Kroger or Publix. UVC is your urban village commercial. That is sort of a mixed use zoning category. And then RSL, which is retired senior living. All of those zoning categories are compatible within an NAC.
Okay. And then a prospective developer would have to obviously apply for rezoning and get those approved.
That's correct. A prospective developer would look at the future land use and would want to choose a zoning that is compatible with the future land use. Now, that's, he has, the property owner, the developer has the right to submit a zoning for any category. And again, this is just a tool that is used to help make decisions, especially in zoning cases.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Any further questions from other commissioners, staff? Okay. Back to you, Commissioner.
Hearing no questions, prepared at this time to recommend approval of CP4-4 as submitted.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Anderson. Is there any discussion? Let's call the question. So vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of CP4-4. And now I think we move to CP4-13.
All right, CP4-13 is in Commission District 4 and proposes to change the future land use from priority industrial area to community activity center, medium-density residential, and public institutional. The site is located on the east side of Mableton Parkway between Honeycutt Road and Queen Mill Road.
Okay, can we have the speaker for CP4-13 come up? You'll have 3 minutes, and you know the routine.
Not usually for this evening meeting. Good evening, Planning Commission. I'm Adam Rosen. I represent a property owner with an interest in this commissioner proposal. My client owns is Eddie Moon and Moon's Automotive, who's here with us tonight, has owned this property for many years, has worked with the county before through some zoning and rezoning of his automotive center on one of the parcels, or 2 of the parcels. It's the 4 or 5 right at the intersection of Honeycutt and Mableton there, and then importantly, those 2 that the pointer is pointing to now. We're pleased to see that the proposal would at least change to Community Activity Center, recognizing what is currently very industrial and for him, heavy automotive uses. And historically in this area have been automotive and industrial. Our concern and our request to you to consider is that the corner parcel at Honeycutt and Mapleton itself is zoned light industrial currently. The adjoining longer skinny parcel next to that we do not own, but it is also zoned light industrial. And then a couple over, the one that's zoned light industrial, that is I believe, a church building being proposed to being changed to public institutional. That makes sense. That's a church use, that's zoned light industrial. But even like the CRC that is in between those uses, I think, is being built out as a warehouse. So it's a tricky area of the county, I think, because you have a lot of these interchanging industrial and residential because of the history of the development and strangely seeing this PSC shape in there in the middle of it. But our request would just to be to consider that right now he has the ability to keep and maintain or develop that corner as industrial. The potential could have been, while this is a priority industrial area, future land use, that the remaining parcels that he owns that aren't light industrial yet could become industrial. And so this changes the dynamics of the future for him because it's now going to be limited into the Community Activity Center. So just the request that you consider that and what the change does to those that are already industrial now that you're putting on a future land use that limits it down to commercial. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosen. This is again in District 4, so I'll turn it to Commissioner Hughes to lead the discussion.
All right, thank you. Philip, if you could come back up. So I know staff evaluated all of these
Correct.
proposals. What are some of the findings or recommendations, the observations staff had with respect to this particular one? Because it is a bit of a hodgepodge.
Right. And Mr. Rosa said it perfectly. It is tricky. And mainly what we looked at, obviously the church property was pretty easy. The zonings that were CRC, that was pretty obvious too to go to CAC. It was tricky with the LI and even the residential that I believe is under the PIA. Yeah, the residential that we proposed for medium density. There was a lot of thought and discussion on those. And probably, I mean, overall, the reason why the change occurred is to help transition the heavier industrial uses near the intersection of Discovery and Mapleton Parkway and Lee Road, and transition that industrial as you go north on Mapleton and transition it more toward residential. So we're in that transitional area right here, and so you've got the industrial, you have the Community Activity Center, and then you have the public institutional, and even ZD5 and CP43, if you remember, they were going to Neighborhood Activity Center. So that's a traditional step down in land use terms. We really did not want to, because of the Community Activity Center, we really did not want to just plop down an industrial category right in the middle of all of it. So we decided to go with the Community Activity Center. It sticks with the transition, but also the property owner can continue to use it as LI as long as he plans to use it as LI. In fact, if he wanted to put in a use, another type of use that is under the LI zoning district, he could do that with no troubles. The only time this would come up is if he decided to rezone the property, and then again it would be just a tool. It's not a binding recommendation.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Okay.
but all in all, it was transitional. That's
Understood.
the main point.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff from the other commissioners? No.
And I was just looking, I don't want to pull up the sheet you had again with compatible zoning categories, but I know CRC would be potentially a zoning category that could be applied here. And just looking at some of the permitted uses here, automobile, truck and trailer leasing, automotive and truck sales, automotive paint and body shops, automotive parking lots, automotive upholstery. So those are all uses that are permitted, appears by right, if he wanted to
Correct.
continue in the automotive side of things. So I just wanted to highlight that. Any other questions for staff? No. Okay. Okay. I think based on what I've heard here this evening, I'm going to recommend approval of this as presented by staff, and I will reach out to the district commissioner just to have a conversation with her about what's proposed on here. That would be my recommendation.
We have a motion on the table.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Ballon. Is there any discussion? If not, let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of CP 4-13. I think with that, we'll move into the staff proposed comprehensive plan amendment.
Yes, this is the last one of the night. We have staff proposal, SP1 is proposing to add the Economic Development Strategic Plan Initiative to the Economic Development Community Work Program within the comprehensive plan. The item would become ED 11 with an estimated completion date of 2025. The responsible party would be Economic Development Division, which has been authorized $100,000 to advertise and procure consultant services to develop an economic development strategic plan. So it's essentially just adding this item to our community work program within the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. I'll open it up to any other commissioners for any questions or comments. Commissioner Ballon.
Yes, so my understanding is that there's a plan to spend $100,000 in the year 2025, if I'm reading this right, and just correct me when I get it wrong, for somebody to look into an economic development strategy plan specifically to attract and retain small businesses. Is that correct, or?
That's part of it.
That's part of it, okay. So it's a little vague, but in addition to that, it's my understanding that over the last few years since I've been paying attention to Cobb County government, that in the year 2018, that Cobb County has increased its millage rates, and it has since refused to reduce them in spite of a great increase in the property digest, while Cherokee has held the line or reduced its millage. And while I'm not completely opposed to the idea of government spending a relatively small amount of money to consider how to attract and retain small business or to work on economic development strategies, I respectfully submit that the best way, as almost any economist knows, to keep and attract small business in Cobb is to keep our millage competitive with Cherokee and other surrounding counties. And that I know personally as an attorney representing several small businesses that I've seen a number of them move to Cherokee over the last few years. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Come on up. We have a comment for you, Fred.
I want to just publicly let everybody know and also clarify for you all. The Economic Development Strategic Plan, the County Commission, of course, recently adopted the countywide strategic plan, and one of the pillars of that strategic plan that's been recently adopted is economic development. So the Economic Development Strategic Plan, we're already going through the procurement process for that. There are actually ARPA funds remaining that we intend to use to fund that rather than to require any kind of general fund dollars. So that's our hope, that we'll be able to utilize the ARPA funds for that. And we just wanted to be sure that, again, that process is already underway. The board has already authorized us to go out for RFQ on that. And we just wanted to be sure that as we update the comprehensive plan, that it also reflects that we're going to be working on that to look at small businesses. Of course, our economic development team over the course of the last year with the new director there have done an excellent job of reaching out to existing businesses, really making an effort to be supportive of small businesses, enhancing our small business concierge service, and lots of great events, and we also have had a great partnership with the Development Authority of Cobb County and awarded another $50,000 and just got another $50,000 in small business innovation entrepreneurship grants. So we expect that the strategic plan, the economic development strategic plan, will help us to continue to grow that area and to your point, Mr. Boying, to help make Cobb County continue to be a great place for businesses to thrive.
I was just going to, before you go, could you introduce yourself for the audience? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Jessica Gwynn, Cobb County Community Development Agency Director, and of course, the Community Development Agency also houses the Economic Development Department.
Thank you. Now, to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I apologize for speaking out of turn. Can you comment at all? And I don't expect you to necessarily have these statistics offhand, but do you know how many small businesses there are in Cobb County, and how many received any form of grant in the year 2023?
I can't tell you. I have no idea how many small businesses there are in Cobb County, but I know that this year, we only have $50,000 a year to award that comes through the Development Authority. Those are Development Authority funds that they give to the county. So again, that's not tax dollars, county tax dollars that are utilized to provide those grants, but I don't remember right offhand how many grant recipients we had in the last calendar year. I guess maybe 5 or 6, but we'd be glad to get that information for you and more information. Those were all awarded at the BOC meetings.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff or any other comments around the staff proposal? Seeing none.
I would like to comment, just that this is not really enough information for me to make an informed decision on this, and so therefore my vote will reflect that concern.
Do you have further questions you want to ask the staff or no? I'm just asking. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve ED 11.
SP1? Is it SP1?
SP1.
Yes.
I'm reading the wrong thing. I apologize, y'all. SP1. I apologize.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Is there any discussion? If not, let's call the question. We have a vote of 3 in favor of SP1 and 2 that vote in opposition. Can you see that? Do you need to see? Can you see that? Do I need to give you the names? Or you're good? Okay. In opposition, we had Commissioner Dance and Commissioner Ballone. Okay. Thank you.
And Chair, that concludes my portion of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Westbrook, and for you and the staff and the hard work that went into this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
If that is all of our business tonight, I am happy to say we are adjourned. Thank you.